In the upper right, over here, our Protoss player, he is
SK Telecom T1 paralyze. DongRaeGu.
And in the bottom left, our Zerg hero.
MVP DongRaeGu. 박수호.
So what have you been up to lately, Artosis? Haven't seen you in a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it has been a little bit. I rested for a few days and then did some Mother's Day stuff.
Yeah.
And been doing some StarCraft and playing.
We played
some Starbow. You and I have been playing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. And
PvT is actually very interesting in that matchup.
It certainly
Or
is.
in that mod.
Yeah. And I've been playing a lot of Shin Megami Tensei, and I'm right at the end
You're
of the game
about to
now.
beat that. You have to be, right? Because you've been playing this for a while now.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot because I'm like really at the end now.
That's cool. How many hours is that RPG?
Well, I'm sure it's a lot faster for other people that have played it before or maybe play console games more often than I, but I'm like 32 hours
Here's
in.
a question. Have you ever gotten like stuck unnecessarily in an RPG because you couldn't find like a door or something stupid?
I had that
feel
for
like this
over an
happens.
hour.
I feel like this happens to me once in any like RPG game I play where I'm like, I don't understand. Like, and I simply don't see that there's like the door to the spaceship I'm supposed to go to, so I end up going back to like the third world and like exploring around there trying to find an item. And then by then it's like 5 extra hours into this game, and I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm doing. I have to go on the internet, and I can't find the part on GameFAQs where I'm actually supposed to be at because I already like did the order wrong or something.
Yeah, this happened to me in this game where there was this one quest that I had to go on because there's these 2 quest logs, the main and the challenge quest log. And the challenge quest log is mostly stuff that just happens, but some of them apparently you have to press A to accept.
Oh, really?
And until you do, the quest doesn't start. And I was trying to do this quest for over an hour, and I was in the right area, and I looked up online, I'm like, I'm losing my mind, it says I'm in the right place. And then I accidentally pressed A on it, and I was like, what?
That's a mechanic that I think to this day, when you get these very open-ended games, it's very hard to get just right.
Mm-hmm.
I've even had that in like, I think it was like God of War like 3 or something. I got stuck at some part. I couldn't figure out this like one part because I didn't see I could like walk up in a certain location, which is pretty embarrassing considering that game's like camera shots are tailored so that you can't get stuck.
It's an interesting thing in game design for sure.
It is. By the way, we have a Stargate coming up here.
Oh, look at that! The cybernetic score is done. All right.
They can talk about that game now.
But this wall-in is really, really funny. Of course, he's scouted and seen that DRG can't do anything, so he doesn't need a wall super quick. But look at that wall. You never really see that.
Well,
like
that's
just a core out in the middle.
That's like
nowhere.
not even. I believe that's not even called a wall or toast.
Yeah, no.
That's just a core out in the middle there. We might be able to get the rest of the Lego pieces here. There we go.
There you go.
Core, and then the second gate here. Link speed now started. Really nothing out of the ordinary here.
No, nothing too weird going on. DRG playing the very eco-heavy style.
Yeah.
Stargate style here for Paralyze. And, wait, did he cancel the start? Oh, wait, no, okay.
No.
I'm like, why is this taking 100 years to
like,
start a unit?
what is this strategy that doesn't work?
Yeah. All right, so he's going right into Phoenixes. We'll see
won't
if he wants to go
expect
for
really late Immortals.
I
This
guess
goes
that's
into
true.
my playbook of made-up strategies that don't work. It's
Yeah.
like he scouts your second Rax or something, and like one base Brood Warrior, like he sees 2 Raxes, and as he leaves, you cancel, boom, and make an eBay.
Yeah. Pretty bad stuff. Well, I'm interested to see if he uses that same style. This, specifically that build, sometimes some of the Protosses that are like extremely good but not tip-top level, I feel like I see them get stuck on builds like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, this is... And this is the funny part, too, because, like, for instance, the specific build that he did last game is a very good build to practice macro games with.
Yeah.
You want to get good mechanically with Protoss and Protoss vs. Zerg and learn to deal with all sorts of different situations with a balanced set of tech. It's a very strong strat to use quite a bit. And, in fact, like, this is one of the only builds that Younghwa did for a super long time.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's doing it once again. So I feel like maybe he's stuck on this. He said he practiced on ladder a lot. This is the type of build you'd use on the ladder.
Well said. This is it. Okay, nice catch there. This causes a problem. He actually... I'm wondering if he should actually go for the other pylon. Well, I guess no, there's enough links in whenever he's going to be fine.
I think the next
Mothership Core is just never,
get the
able to
damage
kill
on
this
it.
all. Meanwhile...
Yeah, that queen,
Oh,
one more
never
lift
mind.
will go down. And he does, of course, force the
On
cancel.
Mother's Day, the queen was killed.
Mother's
really
Day is
messed
actually
up.
Sunday, and it's Wednesday.
On Mother's Day. If you're watching this almost a year from now, on Mother's Day. Now, the Lings are coming up here. Things are falling apart pretty quickly here for Paralyze. I mean, you really want to get that third base up and running. Lings are the easiest way to punish this, though. Mothership Core and Phoenixes are not units that are really ready to
No,
deal
Mass
with
Lings is
stuff like
exactly
this.
how you get through that. And, you know, that's one of the things that this can be weak against a build like this. So we'll see where he goes from here. I mean, he's just warping in some extra units. I guess that's his strat, is to warp in a few extra gateway units and stand them over there while he makes the Nexus. But, you know, when that's your backup,
This
you don't
game's
feel too
looking-
good about it, right?
This game's looking like a lot like the other game we saw, where the third was shut down, and then DRG's like, I'm even more ahead, and I'm even more ahead.
Yeah, he's definitely in a good spot. But, you know, this is... The thing is that a player that plays like this a lot, for instance, we're watching...
Nice links around here.
Yeah,
By the way,
but
Sentry,
good force fields.
yeah, really good force fields. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
No,
Note
he's
that
still going to end up losing everything.
both players
it
right
looks
before the upgrades finish, but this is really about the nice angling here. Zerg comes out on top here. I think the third base gets denied again.
And this is pretty brutal to lose all those gateway units now. Like, look at what Paralyze has. It's very little. He has almost nothing right now. And he's going to have to cancel this Nexus once again, just getting completely smashed here by DRG. But actually, a little something I have to say about this, because I'm sure people are watching this like, wow, this guy sucks. Well, he doesn't, and he has a really big future.
He doesn't. How dare you say that and talk on your computer like we can't hear you?
No, seriously, I can hear everything.
Yeah.
I have a program on your PC. It goes into the microchip in my brain. But seriously, like, play like this and builds like this, you can tell that Paralyze has a future because he's practicing a build like this. It can be very tempting to do some sort of like, well, I'm going to do a 2-base all-in here quite often and practice that because you get more wins against big players like this.
Yeah, I think this might be the GG moment here. I mean, you cannot really recover after you've lost this many sentries.
No, I know.
I mean, this is basically
it's as bad as it gets. He's making 10 corruptors. Like, but back to my little
go ahead.
speech here. It's the thing is, yeah, some players will just like mix in way more cheeses when they aren't super solid and super good already, and that'll pick them up random wins. Like maybe if we saw Paralyze and he had practiced more than all week long just on all-ins, right? Like just for weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe then he crushes DRG with like a 2-base all-in and then loses 2 games, and there you go. You know, he looked a lot better, right?
Right.
But in the long term, this is showing me that you have to have some respect for Paralyze. This guy's really trying to build his base skill and be a truly good Protoss in the future instead of one that's a splash in the pan right now.
Flash in the pan.
Well, a splash in the pan this time. Why would it be a flash in the pan?
Because
a pan is for water. A splash in the pan.
The pan is actually not necessarily for water. The corruptors are coming out now. And this is basically it. I mean, there's too many corruptors. Target down. Well, I guess he can target down the Phoenix if he wants to first. As long as he gets the Colossi, the Roaches and Lings are just they're going to be too much.
Well, the Corruptors.
I gotta say, not the
work.
cleanest attacker by DRG,
No,
but I mean,
not.
this is like really the point of no return where it really doesn't matter how he decides to play this mirror. I gotta say though, I think he could have won that had he actually focus fired stuff a little bit better.
There's no doubt that was like a wasteful attack.
Really reckless. Okay, well, he can remake this pretty quickly, guys, but I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised to see DRG. I was going to say that should have been like him closing that out. Target down the Colossi with the Corruptors. Then get everything else.
You know, DRG doing his thing. He's like, well, now it's time to make the roaches. He's like the Dunkin' Donuts guy, but with roaches in situations like this. Time to make the roaches. And you just see him there all morning making the roaches.
There's an attack at the bottom right, by the way.
Is there? What is it? Oh, just
Phoenixes.
a few Phoenixes. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely wasteful. But DRG has his 4th up, right? He's got his 4th up at the same time as the 3rd is up for Paralyze. Thing is, DRG oftentimes sits sub 70 roaches. I mean, 70 drones, sorry. And just goes into units. Like, that's a style that he really, really likes and always has. But he's also got such sick creep spread. His upgrades are a little bit lacking. He's only got 1/1, getting +1 range now. And he's really focusing just on roaches. Like, you can see that DRG's been playing a long time. He's just like, okay, Roach Corruptor, let's do this.
Yeah, this is like the straightforward, bulletproof way to
it's like a Wings of
steamroll your steamroll your opponent. Okay, nice kiting here with the roaches. As you can see, there's just he's not even actually microing the corruptors.
Yeah,
okay, here we go. It would really behoove him to actually just focus down what he needs to focus down here.
Well, he's killing off Phoenixes, which I guess is kind of nice too, because he can always switch into mutas.
Yeah, well, he'll eventually, but with this might be at the tipping point right here. You have the 1 Colossus left. Yeah, okay, so he'll run him over now, finally. So DRG still looking solid, not taking any flack here from any Protosses.
Brought a drone as well.
Yep. So today, both of our Protosses losing. We're going to have a PvP for the losers match here. Meanwhile, a TVZ for the winners.
Right.
All right.
So, I mean, he's going to hold it still. And I wouldn't leave the game if I'm Paralyzed. I would stay in this because, like, especially if you practice a lot on the ladder, you'd be surprised how many wins as a Protoss player you end up getting on the ladder against people who just keep making roaches.
I was going to say, but in this case, it's DRG.
That is true.
There's the Colossi count was reset, which really makes it hard. We see the 1 Colossi here. Don't forget, he can make as many Corruptors at once as he wants, which will make it scary. Here we see the Stalkers trying to get through that funnel there. And, I mean, DRG, again, it's like an every line. And I see what you're saying, Artosis, where, like, if it was a ladder, you wouldn't leave either. But this is not the ladder.
No, it is DRG. It's a very good point. But, like, that's one very big way that a lot of Zergs lose games.
I'm a little bit disappointed with the way that DRG handled the advantage here, though.
Yeah.
I feel like he really did not.
Well, the thing is, when you get that far ahead and you're on 4 bases like that, you can trade at a deficit. And in a certain way, like, there's ways to win that look less good, but are sometimes even more consistent.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, all I have to do here, right, is to keep his units low, because then he can never make a death ball, and thus he can never, ever move out. And by doing that, like, look, he hasn't killed him, I guess, technically, but the armies that we're seeing out of Paralyze are garbage. Look at that terrible army.
Yeah, it's a Void Ray, a Colossus, and some Stalkers.
You need more units as a Protoss player to be able to do anything. This is not a real army. Like, roaches and corruptors can just kill this stuff.
Another wave here.
So I get why he's doing it. Like, it's not pretty. Maybe it's going to take a bit, but DRG knows that he is not going to lose doing this.
No, there's no way he should lose this.
Sometimes you try to do it more cleanly. You're like, well, I'm going to tech up into this unit or that unit.
It gives them a moment to escape that.
Yeah, then they have a strong unit composition. They move out across the map. One Warp Prism gets in that you didn't expect. A DT is killing all the drones. You're natural. You're like, oh my god! Oh my god! And then you go on the internet and people are saying bad things about you in the forums. DRG's like, no! I should have just attacked with roaches sloppily until he died. And he goes on the forums and people are talking badly about him. Oh, he was bad with those roaches.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I can't win.
He's arguing with some guy who's probably in Gold League. Well, here we go again. More roaches here. The Corruptors kind of hovering over here in case any Void Rays were to come out.
All right, so I just thought of like a funny thing. Like, you know that situation where you get a Protoss into where they have to make Stalkers nonstop? Does DRG have Paralyze in the situation where he has to make Stalkers nonstop, or does Paralyze have DRG in the situation where he has to make roaches nonstop?
It's definitely about that moment here. Whoa, attack with those roaches. Okay, here we go. Coming up here again. So, I mean, we've just been watching a man slowly die. Yeah. There we go, GG.
Well, isn't that what we're all doing all the time?
Thank you, Emotosis.
I've been watching you die for like 10 years, Tasteless.
Oh my God. Well,
ever since you turned 13, I'm like, oh no, it
started to die now.
Started to die.
Ever since all his adult teeth grew in, that was it.
Beginning of the end.
So that last game, I mean, guys, maybe not the most exciting game. DRG basically had him in a snowballing situation where he was going to be ahead. Excuse me, I just spat on myself. He's going to be ahead no matter what he does.
Save that stuff for the bedroom, Tasteless. No, it was kind of a brutal game to watch, but
it was a little painful. It was like watching a lion eat a gazelle. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go on to our winners match at TVZ here in